Hello and welcome back to the Lime Tree Sessions podcast with me, Jack Milcrease.
And the first Kirk.
Scott Charlton.
And joining us today in the studio, it's Daniel Maple!
Hey! You need to get Kieran back on and do like a tournament of wrestling, WWE.
What, each other?
On
No,
the
like the
PlayStation.
game.
No!
God, that would have been awkward.
So-
Can you imagine if your mother's waters broke then?
How we doing? You alright?
I'm alright, I'm alive.
Yes? Yes?
That's what I said.
That's how I even. I'm alive. I was like, that's
That's always a good
start,
sign.
isn't
Always check your vitals. So yeah. How we doing? Are you...
I'm alright.
You all good?
I'm fine.
Yeah?
That's all we
all
need
we
now.
can ask for.
That's all we
need
All
now.
fine.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Daniel is an avid listener of the podcast.
Yes.
So when I was picking them up and saying, you know, have you got your answers to the questions? He was like, yes, I've got it all sorted. So
He's probably more prepared than
yeah.
most
No,
of us, to
I've
be
been
fair.
preparing for like the
That's
past
true.
month. I'm not even joking.
Really?
Like,
Since seeing you?
my, what have you been listening to has changed like every single day.
Class.
Well, you can have a few. You can have a few.
Aye.
So yeah, we always talk about the gigs we've had at the weekend. Now, I trust that you guys
Damn blast.
have still not realised that you need to check this before we start. So I'll come to you last, probably.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Right, I'll go first then. So me and Soph, we don't get to play with each other very often.
Oh, why?
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, Soph. We don't get to perform very often with each other. My mum listens to this,
That's
you know.
even still, you're not helping yourself.
It's okay. You've met each other. It's always,
Yeah, they've
now.
met each other now. Right, anyway. So yeah, we don't get to perform often with each other. So it was quite a rare occurrence. So what we ended up doing was we actually played a student union party at Vita Student, the one that's like opposite Central Station. You know where Nando's is?
No,
Revolution. You know where
I don't
Revolution
know.
is?
no.
It's opposite Central Station anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Is it Nando's opposite Central Station?
Yeah, like
I just thought there was one in Eldon
Gate.
Square.
yeah, there's a new
It's
one.
one on the gate.
Is there?
It's relatively new over the other side of Central Station. It's next to Revs.
Right.
So anyway, there's a student union place there called Vita Student, and we'd basically been booked to play their Christmas party, and we'd been told that, you know, keep it upbeat and lively and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And we got there and it was quite quiet, so we're like, all right, we're not too sure. So we started off with like a few quiet tunes, and then it got like louder
Yeah.
and louder and louder. It was great by the end, and like it was quite amusing because they have a lot of international students,
Right.
so they were just really, really keen for a good laugh. Like they were like up dancing and everything. It was proper good. It was a really good gig.
Oh, nice one.
And yeah, it was just really nice and easy as well because it was just like, you know, turn up and play, and it was great. And it was a really nice place as well. It looked like a
Yeah.
really posh hotel. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It was that kind of vibe. So yeah, that was my gig at the weekend. Daniel?
Class. It's probably best if we leave you out the last.
See, Daniel knows.
Well, it's every bloody. I'm waiting for you.
I
every
still
single episode.
don't know where we've
It's all
been.
right, I've got
I
what's
rely on
sorted. I've got
Scott
what's
99% of the
sorted.
time to know where we've been.
Kieran mentioned it as well when it was like
Let London do Sunday.
You knew the first gig you'd ever done, but you don't know the one you did like literally a couple of days ago. But on Saturday I was at the 3 Tons in Gateshead.
Right.
Do you know where that is?
Aye.
And that was for CMS. I think I played for like 40 minutes or so. That was class, and there was some great acts on there. Who was it? The Thieves. You know
Mhm.
them?
Yeah, I know
they were
thieves,
headlining.
yeah.
They're class. That was
Aye.
class, and everyone was jumping around for them.
Can imagine. It's that sort of music, isn't
Aye.
it?
Well, he looks like Alex Turner as well, doesn't he?
Oh,
Oh,
Frankie.
Frankie, aye.
Aye.
But that was class. Who else was there? See, that's the thing. I
Now he knows how we
I'm doing
feel
a,
now.
I'm doing a
Red,
Linden now.
red light syndrome.
Aye. But yeah, so that's our gig. And then on Sunday, I was at Berkeley Community Centre doing the open mic. Aye, and that was class.
Very good.
Nice one.
Have you remembered?
Oh, God, no.
Have you
relying on
remembered?
Scott.
Yes.
Go on then,
Will I
Scott.
know?
Yeah, yeah. On Saturday we were in Washington at Westwood Social Club.
Oh yeah.
We were, yes.
All right.
I'll take his word for it, to be fair.
Did I say Saturday or did I say Friday there?
You said Saturday?
It was Friday. Because then Saturday we were in Hebburn playing. I can't remember the name of the club, but it was on with the
Something Fields.
Elmfield
Elmfield
Social Club.
Social Club.
You played
Yeah.
that one?
Probably.
Probably aye. But they were a good gig. That was the one where Terry came to, so shout out Terry if he's listening.
Hi Terry.
All right, Terry.
So that was our gigs. They were good gigs. Just Friday, Saturday this weekend though. So it was nice to have yesterday off.
Nice one. Very good. Okay, it's time for
What do you listen to?
Okay, who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
You want to go
Go on
first?
then.
So, in the light of Christine McVie dying,
Yes.
I went through
Rest
a lot
in
of.
peace.
I went through a lot of Fleetwood Mac stuff. I know she didn't sing it, but I came across a song that I'd not actually heard before, which I think is quite a big song. Landslide.
yes.
What?
I'd never
never
heard it.
heard it?
Really?
I'd never heard it. I heard it on the radio the
It's
other day.
bloody great.
It's an amazing song.
Oh,
Never
yes,
heard
it's
it before.
lush.
I know
One of
she
the
doesn't
best.
sing it, but
Yeah.
it's now my favourite Fleetwood Mac song.
That's my favorite. But well, there's a band called, but they're not called this anymore. But the Dixie Chicks. Now they're just called the Chicks
yeah.
because
Aye.
of derogatory, whatever.
Yeah.
Their version of that song is unbelievable. You'll have to listen to
Yeah,
their
we'll
version.
need to cover that at some point because
it's a great
We've
tune.
not done any Fleetwood Mac yet, have we?
No, we've done stuff for Buskers Nights, but we've never actually done.
Yeah, we did. Don't stop, didn't we?
Don't
at it?
Oh,
Stop.
aye, we
Yeah.
did.
But that
It's
was
another
it.
Christine McVie song.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Aye.
yeah.
What,
That-
what a tune!
pretty
What a
great.
tune!
I love Fleetwood Mac, like, and
Yeah.
her, she's underrated as a songwriter for Fleetwood Mac because it's usually just Lindsay Buckingham and Stevie Nicks that
Yeah.
get the plaudits for Fleetwood Mac. But,
Well, I really like Songbird.
oh, it's beautiful.
Like, particularly Eva Cassidy's version. Have you heard that?
yeah, I have. Aye.
Like that's really nice.
It was
as
actually
well.
the first version I'd heard. I didn't
Yeah.
before I'd heard of Fleetwood Mac. It was that one. But,
Yeah.
Well, what do you think of like Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac as well? The stuff beforehand.
Oh, the rock, the bluesy stuff.
It's different, but I like
Right.
it.
Yeah, it is cool.
Well,
Well, I
'cause
went
I
to go
like
and see a tribute act called Rumours of Fleetwood Mac at
Right.
Sage,
Aye.
and they did a sort of the show was split in half where they did the pre Stevie Nicks Fleetwood Mac,
Right,
like the
aye.
Peter Green stuff beforehand, and then did the more known stuff. It was really cool, like
Aye.
doing the Peter Green stuff. Like it was stuff that I'd recognised, but I hadn't thought of what the songs were
yeah.
called or whatever. So
There's
it-
some
you don't
hidden gems in
realise.
them. Like,
Yeah.
Aye.
There is, yeah. It's mint bluesy stuff.
Ah, it's class.
Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting when Fleetwood Mac, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, when they did their final tour and stuff, and they released like a best of Fleetwood Mac, and it was
Yeah.
like 5 CDs long or something, right? But the first like part of it is all the Peter Green stuff,
Mhm.
and I remember talking to people who weren't aware of it. And them being like, "This isn't Fleetwood Mac. I've never heard this before." And it's like, well, yes, so it's just another
So
era.
contrasting,
You know what I mean?
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously I know it wasn't as commercially successful, but it's
Mhm.
still part of the
Yeah.
journey because
Yeah.
it was all the same members apart from the people who then came in.
Yeah.
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 You know, so I think I might have mentioned this before, but there's a great documentary called the Sound City documentary where Dave Grohl takes a bunch of the people who recorded in the original Sound City and gets them into his studio,
Mhm.
and it's all the people who originally recorded there and stuff. And there's a whole section about that first Fleetwood Mac album with Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. I think it's the self-titled album for Fleetwood Mac.
It is, yeah.
And they talk about that whole story of the transition between the Peter Green era and then them going under just Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. If you haven't watched the documentary yet, you've got to watch it. It's a great documentary. But there's a good 15-20 minute section on just that era, which is really cool.
That sounds class. Aye.
What have you been listening to?
Oh, I've
You've
got
been
back.
preparing for this, Daniel.
Right, I'll pick one of me 15. I've got two, if that's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Aye.
First one is Lou Reed, do you know, from
Oh,
Velvet,
yeah,
Velvet
yeah.
Underground.
Mhm.
I recently got back into him because obviously, like, I remember back in the day, it was like him, Bowie, and Iggy Pop were like the trio.
Mhm.
And I'd listen. I mean, I love the Stooges and Iggy Pop and all that. I love Bowie, but I've never listened to like Velvet Underground and Lou Reed and all that. So I got into it, and I've never heard Perfect Day.
Yeah.
I was
Really?
up until like a week ago,
Good song.
and I've been obsessed with it. I did it last night at the Buskers, and
Nice.
it was class.
It's
Aye.
in
really good song.
Train Spotting.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how I know
I
it,
think,
yeah.
and I definitely know the chorus because it was on an advert.
Yeah, it was a BBC advert.
Yeah, that's
I
how
think
I
they did
knew
it
it.
for the Sound of Music.
It was
Yeah.
something like it was either for the proms or like BBC Music.
Yeah,
But I
I
think when
think
they
it
introduced
was.
BBC Music app, I think they did it and
Yeah,
had lots
yeah.
of different artists.
Yeah, that
cover
was
the
it.
song.
Aye.
Yeah.
But I'd heard that, and I bloody love it. Aye.
It's a great song.
And so I'll pick that song. Are we doing like the playlist thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Aye.
That'll be linked down below
So
if
he
you're watching
knows
on
the
YouTube.
score.
He knows
He
the
knows the
See, I'm
score.
getting all the
Better
promo.
at promoting us than we are.
Yeah.
Right, and the second song is ASMR there. No. Oh, that's going to sound vile on there.
It's staying in, Daniel. It's staying in.
cut it.
Oh, no. Right, the second one's, I've been listening to Mac Miller again.
All right.
He's
Right.
He's got to be one of my favorite artists because I think I got into him like a bit early this year, and I remember just being like, how have I never heard him before? Because all his stuff's like so relatable as well. He has like a massive back catalogue of stuff, loads of different genres. He's performed like Thundercat, if you know him. He's like popular bassist. Anderson .Paak.
Oh, I know him.
Loads of amazing people do R&B as well. So I'll probably pick Self Care by Mac Miller. I think that's the first one I heard, and I was hooked by then.
Very good.
But the music videos are really cool as well. So
Nice.
he has
Fabulous.
a lot of stuff.
Do you know I've never listened to any of
I
Mac Miller
Couldn't
stuff?
name you one
Oh,
song.
no.
I've not
He's
something I've looked
amazing.
into.
Do you know what? I've only ever heard his cover of Wonderwall.
Oh bloody hell!
That's the only thing I
Aye.
know of Mac Miller. So
Aye.
I imagine he's more.
No,
There's more to him than that.
he started in like, well, it's like straightforward 90s hip hop when he
Right.
first started, and he ventured out. I think the 2016 album, he started doing more experimental stuff, and the last 2 albums he did, one of them got released before he died, and one of them got released afterwards. And them albums like amazing because they're so diverse in genre as well. I forget his name. Is it John Breon? He was like a producer or something.
Right.
He helped out on the project, and he got him like to play loads of different types of instruments and weird types of synths and all that. And it sounds class looking back at it. And the album that got released in 2020 after his death has like overdubs of it in.
Right.
But
Oh, really?
But like they fit perfectly as well. I think
Yeah,
it
yeah.
couldn't have been done better.
Very
Yeah.
good.
So, yeah.
Scott.
I have been listening to a song called Lotus by an artist called Pet Snake. Now we've
You pull some weird names out the hat,
No,
honestly.
listen. She is the guitarist / keyboard player / singer of a band called Clean Cut Kid, who we've mentioned
Yeah, yeah.
before. And she's going on a solo project at the moment under the name Pet Snake,
Right.
which is pretty odd. Like
Is that the lead singer's girlfriend?
it is
Or
indeed.
wife, or on the married?
Wife, I think so. Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
they're pretty cool. They're from Liverpool, and it's just really cool. It's like, have you heard of Phoebe Bridgers stuff?
Yeah.
It's a bit like that, but it's pretty cool.
All right.
Nice.
Lotus, it's called.
Very
Jack, what
cool.
about you?
Can I be cheeky and have 2 as well? I know.
No.
I know. I'm not the
Oh,
guest.
go
Well,
on,
since
go on.
Daniel's done it, we'll have to. let
Yeah,
you do it.
well, I mean,
You know,
like
it's my podcast. Our podcast.
whoa! Oh! I won't be
shots
having
fired.
that, lad. I won't be having that.
Oh, we can't really disagree
No,
with
I
that
can't
statement, to
complain.
be
I
fair.
can't complain.
It's not my podcast.
Jack carries
it's
it.
our podcast that I
Hard.
carry. So, so on Saturday, I went to go see my good friend Danny Vaughan. Hi, Danny, at the Clooney. Bless him.
Wave every time.
He's an amazing guy, amazing artist. And he performed amazingly, and I found out afterwards he was like really, really ill. Like saw him afterwards, and he was like, "Oh, how you doing?" And he was like all groggy and everything, and he was like, but he sounded like unbelievable, even though he was ill.
Mhm.
Like when I'm ill, I sound like Phoebe from Friends. You know what I mean? So, so he played. He actually did loads of requests. He did like a thing where like on Facebook he put on saying like, what song do you want to hear? Because he's been in various bands. He was in a band called Taiketo and a band called Wasted, and then he has like his own solo stuff as well. And at the end of the night, he got the support band up to play with him, and they played a song called "Burning Down Inside" off the Don't Come Easy album by Taiketo, and it was class. It was like, imagine like the most 80s sounding song like possible. It's that kind of vibe, like with all the harmonies and shredding and all that. Oh, it was just absolutely class.
Yeah.
And I've only ever seen him play it acoustic, so to play it with like a band, it was really, really cool. So that's my first one. And then my second one is one by the support band. The support band were called This House We Built. And I actually met them when I did the Whitby gig with Danny. So they were up supporting, so that was really cool. And they played a song with Danny of theirs called Fly Me to the Moon. Not the Sinatra classic, different song. So they would be my 2, which were really cool. The bass player in the band, he was like the coolest bloke ever. If you're watching, honestly, he was really fucking cool.
Was he?
He was like covered in tattoos, big beard, like mohawk, like he had like he had these ripped jeans on, and you could see his tattoos through his jeans. And I was with Keith. Hi, Keith. And Keith's an older guy. He's Gary's dad. Hi, Gary. And he, I know. Just who can we mention? So
Should we just take a moment now to shout out Jack Harvey?
Jack Harvey. Hi,
Jack Harvey,
Jack.
oi, Jack.
Just for continuity purposes.
Absolutely. So I was talking to Keith, and Keith was like, "Do you reckon he's got his tattoo on his? Do you reckon he's got those jeans on so we can show off the tattoos on his knees?" And I was like, "Yeah, 100%," because he had this like massive skull on his knee. And
Yeah, yeah.
So he was proper badass. But yeah, those two, Danny Vaughan and This House. We got.
Nice one.
Mint.
Okay, so we've got Daniel in the studio. Daniel, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself, what you've been up to, who you are?
I'm called Daniel Maple.
Yeah.
I've recently been doing a lot of gigs. I started gigging in about beginning of August. I think it was then. I mentioned to you earlier I was in a band before, but I started the solo stuff. I took like a month off social media in September and then came back in August. Oh no, the other what comes before August?
July.
It's been a long day. So July I took like a month off and then came back in August and started doing open mics. And now I tend to go to like 3 to 4 open mics a week.
Really?
I get my
Yeah.
head down with it. I think that's just the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I think especially like it gets your foot in a lot of doors just
Yeah,
doing
man.
open mics.
It's networking, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
meeting
It's
people.
how
and-
we met.
It
Well,
is,
it is
I
indeed.
met Jack through the Stack open mics.
There
Yeah,
you
yeah.
go.
Seaburn.
He came to the Stack open mic, right? And like, I don't let this go to your head, but I was like blown away. I thought you were
Yeah,
mint, right?
Thank you.
And then like when you talked about the podcast, I was like, wait, you've got to come on.
Aye.
Like,
Definitely.
Class.
I thought you were brilliant. So
Oh,
you know,
Aye.
we're gonna hear a bit of Daniel later on as well. We'll get him in to do a few songs and stuff, so you'll hear that
Aye.
at the end of the podcast and as a separate video because we do it separately. That'll be linked up and down and all that shit. Yeah, you know where it is. You know where it is. But yeah, you go to a lot of open mics, like
Aye.
you say. You do your own gigs and
I
stuff.
tend to go around the circuit with them. Like I've been to the Stack loads of times now, haven't I?
You
I've
came
been-
to every one. I think you came to the first one.
Every one. Oh yeah, what I didn't know as well was the first time I'd been there was one of Jack's first weeks doing it
Yeah.
Yeah.
as well.
You've not been doing it that
Aye.
long, really, have you? Because every fortnight.
September was the
Aye.
first one, maybe
So I think
something
that
like
was
that.
the first week I went.
So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
only 2 a month.
Yeah.
Max, so,
Aye.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
every fortnight. So
Aye.
yeah, it's a good one, like the Stack. But
We'll have to
aye.
get on doing some stuff.
Aye, at some point.
You should. You know. Well. There was one week I invited you. I didn't want to bring this up. There was one week I invited you, and you should
happening?
come down, and you never did. And I told Rachel like beforehand, so she'd set up all the
Oh,
DI boxes
no.
for you. all.
Bless her.
And I went, it's just me. And she went, are you kidding? And I went, don't blame me. I invited them.
We'll
but-
apologise profusely to Rachel.
Sorry, Rachel.
She's listening.
That's Sean.
When was that?
Sorry.
it
We
was
must
one-
have been busy doing something.
It was one. It was one either September, October time, something like that.
Aye.
It was a while ago. So,
Well, there we are.
still haven't
We'll
forgiven
come to
you,
your
but-
next one.
Yeah, next year.
Is it next year? Is it stop now?
Well, the next one, I think they wanted off for Christmas anyway. But the next one, actually, ironically, would be when we're going to see Paolo Nutini. So I couldn't do it anyway.
Oh, wait.
But I think because of the Christmas and stuff. I mean, to tell you the truth, we did one last week, and there was still players in. But God, it was freezing. Like,
imagine.
yeah, like
Have they got the things up yet? Because usually they put the
Like the patio heaters. Because they've got
The-
patio heaters.
Do you mean the
haven't
te- You mean the
the
teepee?
teepees.
The
Yeah.
teepee's actually not there.
Usually they put them up for Christmas.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not there
Yeah.
at the minute, but I'm kind of alright about it because they always put it in the middle, which seems a bit odd to me.
Jeez.
But
they? Playing it with TP.
It is freezing at the Stack sometimes.
yeah. It's not. Well,
It doesn't help it's by the sea as
Yeah.
well.
yeah. I mean, there's heaters on stage, but they don't do loads.
They don't
I
do what
really
they're supposed to do.
I really wanted to play it in my Parker, but I couldn't like get my guitar like over my hood and stuff. So I was like, I'll just not do that. I just won't play in my Parker. It's fine. So like in between like the breaks and stuff, I'd be like, put my guitar down, Parker straight on, like cuddling in the corner.
Aye.
But yeah, Daniel's absolutely great. I'm really glad that you've came on, and well, I'm looking forward to hearing
Yes,
some tunes.
definitely.
Okay, it's now time for.
The Lime Tree Time Machine.
Okay, Lime Tree Time Machine. Concept is, Daniel, you know what the concept is. You listen to the podcast. if you've got a time machine, you can go wherever you want, wherever you want, I should say. Where you going?
About a minute ago when you didn't ask that question.
Good
Let's
answer.
think. Probably one of the Creedence Clearwater Revival concerts. I think
Yeah?
they're great.
All
to
right.
watch. I've been watching the Royal Albert Hall one.
No, I don't.
Oh, it's class to watch. And it's just It's rock and roll, baby. But it looks really fun to watch, and I would have loved to be in there as well. I'm a huge John Fogerty fan. You can tell by that.
Yeah.
I didn't do this on purpose as well. It evolved into John Fogerty, and now I'm stuck. So
There's the title. Evolved into John Fogerty.
But I I think they played at Woodstock as well, didn't they, Creedence?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
So Woodstock's a popular one as well.
yeah Woodstock's a good
I,
one.
we've mentioned that
We've
before.
mentioned
haven't
that.
Yeah. We all said, and I say this every time, but we all said
we? I'm
live.
sure
Aid.
Daniel already knows that.
Yeah, he
Right.
definitely does.
Sick
Yeah.
of it. I think. Oh, I'm going to be controversial here.
There we
but
go.
All right.
I think I preferred Woodstock.
Okay. I can sort of get it.
Depends.
suppose it depends
well,
what
Like,
music
it's
you're
just
into.
because the music I listen to, like Canned
Sure.
Heat played there, and Jefferson Airplane with
Hendrix.
Hendrix. I think Hendrix played for like 2 hours as well,
Yeah.
and it was like really early. Some of the performances like really early in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to be playing a gig at 5 o'clock in the morning?
No, I'd be all right for that. Like,
No.
Was that a
well,
case of
he
people-
won't remember them, will he?
Was that a
So,
case of people were still up at 5 a.m. or people had to get up to watch it?
I don't know.
Because I can't imagine people
well, I
would have
mean,
got up to watch someone at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I mean, with
They'll
the
all
Stay
be
there
on
would have
drugs,
been
man.
in-
They
well,
would've
That's
been
what I
out
was going to
anyway.
say. The stories
Aye.
in Woodstock, that probably was there 5 p.m.
yeah,
so
yeah.
Don't know how long
reversed.
Woodstock went on for, but it was one day for the people who
Yes.
were there.
Aye.
Just again.
One
again,
long day.
again.
I had to. I've
one
never.
consecutive sitting.
One consecutive
I've
gig.
never looked at how long it was over, like a few weeks, or if it was over a weekend. I've never known.
I think it might be. Was it not like 3
I'll do
days?
some
Yeah.
live research while you're
Good
talking.
idea.
I think it was like 3 days or something.
Was
like
it? I've never known.
that. I think it
I've
got
always-
delayed. for
Yeah,
some
that
reason.
sounds about right.
I remember I watched a documentary years ago about it, but I don't know why I brought this up because I can't remember a single thing from it. But I did watch.
But you
a
watched a documentary.
I did watch a documentary once about it.
and there we are.
That's a good anecdote.
It is
Yeah.
indeed.
It was over 3 days.
Was it?
Yeah.
3 days.
Oh, there you are.
August 15th to August 18th, 1969.
Oh yeah,
If
I
the-
remember them days.
Yeah.
The good old days.
The good old days.
If the Beatles played it, I'd probably change my answer.
Oh, it happens every episode.
Excuse me, voice break.
Oh, man.
Yeah. If the Beatles,
man.
if the Beatles played it, I might have changed my answer, but
All right.
but I'd still choose.
Did the
Live Aid.
Beatles play Live Aid?
Paul McCartney.
Paul
played
McCartney
live,
did, yeah.
yes.
Well, some of them couldn't because.
Yeah.
Well,
They were
the
dead.
obvious.
But yeah,
Yeah.
How dare they?
how dare they
know.
die?
Inconvenience.
What a shame.
No.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know. I think I might change my answer.
Really?
Oh,
I know Live Aid's like obviously the obvious one,
Yeah.
but I think especially recently since I've been watching like loads of New York videos.
Do you miss New York?
I really miss New York.
Oh, that's
I'd
right.
probably
Yeah.
I'd probably go
Oh.
back in time to like the October half term and just go to New York again.
all right.
Or actually, well, to be fair, if I could go anywhere, I'd probably go like maybe like the 80s in New York because lots of stuff was happening
okay.
at that point, maybe. But just
Yeah,
anywhere
yeah.
in New York, don't really care when. Or go back to when like Empire State was being built. That would be quite cool
Why?
because like I find it fascinating how little health and safety there was.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you
see
see
those
those-
pictures of them
yeah.
sitting on the beams or whatever up high.
It's pretty crazy. I
Just occurred to us, I don't know when that was built.
when
When you
Live
would be
research.
Going to. Live research.
was it 1912?
I don't know.
1912, I think.
Be a bit boring. Are you just gonna sit there and watch it get built?
I
Are
don't know
you-
how
are
long
you
you're
gonna
gonna
join
have to be. You're gonna have to be there for fucking years.
I
to
mean,
see it built.
it took a year.
Oh, it's only a year.
It was March.
Oh,
it
it's
was,
meant to be
it was
longer than
March.
Well, I mean, you could walk around New York in your spare time.
It was
then
March.
go back
If you
to
get this, I'll be so impressed.
You already said 1912.
I know it's March to March. I think one day is the 21st. Did it get finished on the 21st?
Oh, I don't know. It was March 7th. It started March 17th, 1930.
All right.
And then took 1 year and 45 days to build.
Yeah.
I must say, I was expecting it would have been longer than that.
Yeah.
Because it's
That's
being the
quite-
tallest building in the world at the
Exactly.
time, it was, you would
and
imagine.
the
it would-
limited engineering
That is impressive.
facilities and stuff.
Because I was watching. We didn't go to the Empire State Building, but I was watching a vlog about the Empire State Building,
Right.
and they have this thing in it where it shows you, which, like it goes like level by level, and it shows you like the date.
Oh, it was
As it-
completed.
yeah.
Ah, I know what you mean.
Because like some parts took like a few weeks, and then some parts took months. So
But as we all know, it was built by the Daleks. So anyway,
was.
oh, here we go.
It was.
Here we go.
Are you a Doctor Who fan, Daniel, or did you ever get
No,
into
but
it?
I do believe we're in the Matrix.
That's Scott's outnumbered now.
3-on-1 now.
He knows.
That's class.
Get in.
Very good.
I think that's a good way to end that section.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it's now time for
Quick fire questions.
Daniel.
Yes.
What's the reason you got into music?
Oh.
The classic question. Well, it started on a drizzly Tuesday. I don't think it's like there wasn't a certain moment. I think it was like it's like asking sort of like, can you remember when you fell in love? Do you know what I mean? It's like well, it's not that, but it's like the same kind of thing where it's like
Yeah.
Fell in
gradually.
love with music.
Shut up. He's getting too soppy over there. No, but like it's sort of gradually built up to the point where it feels like I've been doing it my whole life.
Yeah.
So it's one that you probably feel the same way.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I
a
suppose,
progressive
yeah.
thing.
But I remember being younger, my dad, because my dad has loads of keyboards in the house, I was always fannying on their like he'd be trying to play like Teenage Kicks or something, and remember, do you know the things on the keyboards where you go like that and like detunes it?
Yeah.
I used to just sit there for a
Oh,
while,
yes.
pissing them off, like topping the notes and all that. I was that kid. And then when I got into year 3 or year 4, you get chosen to like play an instrument in your primary school,
Mm.
and you get either like the choice of doing brass instruments or violin, and
Did you get any of this?
I can't remember.
I didn't get anything
well,
like that.
No,
At primary school, no.
do you not get the options?
No, it wasn't until secondary school that I touched an instrument. pretty
there
much.
was
Oh.
there was options, but I didn't go for either of them.
Oh right.
Like
Right.
I
He was too cool.
Well, I'll tell you
no, I
what
just
it
didn't,
is.
didn't want to play violin.
So I picked brass instruments, and I ended up playing the trumpet for ages. That was
Right.
my first
Really?
like big instrument, trumpet.
Mhm.
I started on the cornet, and then I didn't play the cornet for like ages. And if you play like the cornet and trumpet, you know, like the valves get really like
Yeah,
if you don't
yeah.
play them for a while. And I went in my lesson one time, picked it up and went like that, and the valve just stuck down and wouldn't go back up.
Right.
So they were like, well, we may as well just get you a trumpet now because it's like a bit bigger and everything. And I played the trumpet for ages, but it's because my sister plays the tenor horn, and she
Right.
was in like the local brass band.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sort of like the next in line to go into the band. So I did that for a while, and I only stopped playing the trumpet earlier this year when I
really?
finished secondary school. But
you should have brought it with you. That would have been great.
that would have been class.
When the Saints go marching in and all that.
Do
Yeah.
you, do
Well-
you still play it now?
I haven't played it.
Just
In
haven't-
I haven't played it since like July or
At least
June.
now I know a trumpet player.
Yeah.
Well, this was.
Are we just gaining a brass section here? That's what we do.
Yes.
Is like we've got saxophone, we've got trumpet.
Do you used to play brass instruments like?
No.
No,
God.
no.
Well, you bought both Lyndon and Soph both
Oh.
bought a saxophone.
Yeah.
in
I know
lockdown.
this off
Yes,
the
yes.
episode.
Yeah.
Have you picked it up yet?
Harder than it's harder than it looks. Honestly, the
Oh.
saxophone's mental. But
But
one day,
we've got
I-
Mehdi, he plays
yeah,
saxophone.
we have a saxophone player.
It's got to be like the coolest instrument though, saxophone.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is, yes.
It does look really
is.
cool. Aye. But yeah, so I started doing that, and then it wasn't until about year 6 I picked up the bass. I started on bass, and I'd sort of like my dad was clearing out the loft, and I'd gone downstairs and went, oh, what's this? He's like, oh, he had 2 bass guitars, and so he gave us one, and he was like, oh, learn this, and dum dum. Can I sing? Dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
dun. Under pressure. So he starts playing that bass line, and I figured that out quickly. And he goes, "All right, don't learn. I'll teach you a new one." And it was like 12-bar blues, the classic
Yeah.
like EAB thing. And he went, "Don't worry if you don't get it first time, because it might be a bit difficult." And I get it first time, and he like, do you know the face an adult pulls when they see someone like younger do something?
Aye.
They pull that, and they're like, "He's going to be good, isn't he?" So I'd gone into my mum and dad's room because I didn't have a computer in my room or anything,
Mhm.
and I'd just go on like big bass tabs and all the like the classic websites, and I learnt like all AC/DC stuff and all that. And then eventually I figured out guitar's a lot cooler than bass. When you're younger, I mean, now I think total opposite.
Yeah.
I think
bass
everyone
is
does,
class.
don't they?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
A bass
But-
player's the coolest.
I mean, you're getting no girls if you're playing a bass. I'm sorry.
Well, there you go, Scott.
Aye.
Sorry, Scott, but
It's all right.
That's why he's a drummer
It's
as
all right.
well.
It's not me main instrument.
the drummer's eye candy. That's how you get the
I
girls.
play the piano. I can't really say anything.
I think piano's cool. All right.
I would
glad
love. I
someone
would
does.
love to play the piano.
Yeah.
I really can't.
I'll teach
but-
you one day.
You should,
I am jealous of people that can play piano because I know I can play chords, but that's nothing.
Yeah.
really.
I find it crazy. We're going off on a tangent here, but
Right.
I find we've mentioned this before about how like on piano you play like inversions so that the keys are closer to
Yeah.
each other.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like that, I think would be the most difficult because I imagine I know like if I could play it, you know, like this is really hard to describe on a podcast, but if you played it like your three fingers as a chord, but you keep going up and down instead of playing the inversions,
Yeah.
like I can't do that. And that's something I'd love to be able to learn more about. But you're right. Like I think that's such a complicated
It's a
instrument.
thing with the pedal as well, like when to take your foot off the pedal and all that. Like I respect
Just
it.
before you hit the
Yeah,
next
just
one.
before you hit it.
Yeah, but like if you don't know what the next
So
one's
that's
gonna
two
be,
pedals
half
you've got
the
to
time.
worry about.
Aye, true.
Yeah,
But aye.
very
There
cool.
you are.
Your earliest memory of listening to music?
God. Did you say yours last time?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yes,
It'd be
yeah.
in the car, I think most.
I
of
would
them,
do
Yours
it,
was
yeah.
in the car. Yours was dancing around the dining room table with your
No,
brother.
and it was also in the car doing Royal Keys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hot.
and mine was basically the same. My dad showing his music and having it on my PSP.
All
That's
right,
usually
okay.
the case, isn't it?
PSP?
Family.
Yeah, man.
You're that old?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
I've still got my PS.
I've got a PSP.
Yeah, I've got a
I have it in the
PSP.
man cave. I've what was the game? Oh, there was a game on the PSP. I used to love a driving game.
All
And
right.
you used to have to outrun people on it.
All right.
This is a massive tangent, but yeah.
I don't
Need
know.
for Speed.
No, it was like
Forza.
no.
Forza, what a great game.
I've never played Forza. I'm sorry.
Oh god.
I used to have this mint game. Sorry, we're going off on a
No,
tangent
go
here.
on.
We'll answer your
Do
question
it,
in a minute.
I know.
I used to have this. I used to have this mint game on PSP, right? And it was can't remember the name of it, but you basically were in like an arena and you had like you drove monster trucks and you got like you got money and points for doing tricks on monster trucks and like I mean there was also like bikes and quad bikes and stuff. It was like the coolest game.
I bet you
ever.
were in
That
the
sounds
monster
like the
trucks,
coolest
weren't you?
thing.
Because you used to go to all the rallies.
I
And
did
stuff.
used to go to all the monster truck rallies.
I used to play Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah.
It's a
On the
cool album.
on the PSP.
Yeah.
Aye.
I had two
You-
Battlefront
I
games.
didn't know
All
that-
the games you'd have on like a PlayStation, whatever, you could get on a PSP mainly.
Oh,
So
I
maybe
never
the
knew
odd one you
Battlefront was on
couldn't.
PSP.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Oh, I
Should
just
we all
got
get
it when
the
it was
PSPs
on.
out?
So
I wish I had mine. I sold it not too long ago.
I'll
I,
get-
I
okay,
sent
well.
you a message. Was it a couple of days ago when I went? You need to get Kieran back on and do like a tournament of wrestling WWE
what, each other?
on
No,
the
like the
PlayStation.
game.
No,
We'll hire out a club and set up
That's
a
fine.
fucking
I'll
canvas.
wrestle you all. Bring it on.
that's the title.
I'll wrestle you all.
Why didn't he setting up a bloody wrestling tournament? The Lime
No,
Tree
but, like,
Wrestling
No,
Tournament.
yes, that's
We'll
the
get all
title.
the guests on. We'll get Sam on. We'll get Sophie on.
That'd be
We'll,
fucking
we'll
great.
get Jack back, of course. We'll have to
Yes.
get Jack on.
Oh my
Bloody hell.
He's all down to wrestle.
Get in.
Very good.
I meant on the PSP or
Oh,
the PlayStation
right.
2 or something.
I think the other one's a better
Yeah.
idea, to be fair.
What,
Like
real-
Lime Tree
Do you reckon we can
Wrestling
get,
Tournament.
get what everyone at once in here?
Yeah, we'll get everyone here. That'd be
It'd be
good.
like-
Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Get the ladders out. So I used to jump off.
Listen, I know what you mean. aye.
Put you through the desk.
Aye.
Table, ladders and chairs.
Get in.
What was the question?
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Oh, first musical memory.
Earliest memory listening.
What the hell do we get?
I don't know.
People through tables.
Right. My first, I mean, it's one of those things again where like it gradually, like I can't remember my first memory.
Yeah.
But I remember being like, I would have been like 5 or 6. Do you know the band 10cc?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
We'd gone to see them live somewhere and I don't know where it was, but it was a song, Dreadlock Holiday.
Yeah.
And there was this woman in front of us, because obviously like when you're 5, you're like, I mean, you got to be like that small. You got to be pretty small when you're
Jack.
5.
I was gonna say I was a lot smaller than that.
I was in eye level basically of someone's bum, and they were proper like shaking it around and stuff in front of us. It was like
Get
this
in.
40-year-old woman or something. It's proper going for it, and obviously like, do you know when someone does that and everyone in the audience is sort of like looking at them being like, right. And I was sort of just behind them, and I started like copying it, doing that, and my mum and dad were laughing their heads off at it, and so that is probably weirdly my first memory of hearing music
Yeah,
that I can like list off my head.
10cc concert.
Yeah.
that's great.
That would have been, I think I was like 5 or 6 or something. The other one would have been like when I went to Florida in 2012. So I would have been 6 then. Sorry, that probably makes you feel so old. but-
Fuck me, I was 13
I'm
in
sorry.
2012.
2000. Old.
You
I
were
can't count.
15.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
well, Yeah. Sorry.
Oh!
It's all right.
Moving
buddy.
on,
It's all right,
Daniel.
buddy.
Moving on. Moving
not.
on.
But yeah, went to Florida in 2012, and have you been to Florida before?
I've not.
No,
No,
I
I've
haven't.
Oh well,
Sophie has, but
there's like a place called Epcot, and they
Mhm.
used to do. I think it's gone now, but they used to do a thing called Captain AO, where it was like Michael Jackson's like film he made. It was, I think it's like half an hour long or something, and I went in for a show into that. And I remember getting back from Florida, and I just listened to Michael Jackson on repeat, and I was obsessed with him for ages. And I used to do like football and stuff, and every time I got in, because you wore like these black thermal stuff,
Under Armour.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to get in, whip off my football strip, and I'd look like Michael Jackson in bad.
Yeah,
Do you know the
yeah.
all black suit? you wore?
Yeah.
I used to dance around the room dressed as
Class.
Michael Jackson.
What's the best gig you've been to?
Oh, best gig I've ever been to.
I suppose you've already answered the first gig. Was your first gig 10cc?
I don't think that was my first gig.
No.
So then it wasn't your first musical
But I can't.
experience.
But you can remember
No,
that one.
because
Oh, right.
right, this is the one. Right, when I was in the womb, in my mum's womb.
Oh, womb. Oh.
I thought you said worm.
That's what it are.
I heard Womb.
When you were in the worm.
In
When
the
I was
womb.
when I was in the womb.
That sounds like a euphemism for something, doesn't it? That's what
No,
we're
it
getting
doesn't.
at there.
It doesn't, Lyndon. We're not getting this big. Right, I saw Bon Jovi in the womb.
Okay.
Saw Bon Jovi and I think Alice Cooper as
Mint.
well. So they were my favourite gigs. Because they could have been really good. You know,
They
Fair
probably
play.
they probably were.
they probably would have been really
Yeah,
good.
man.
Maybe that's why I'm musical.
Could be.
'Cause- I don't know. I think I was meant to be due on that date as well for either Bon Jovi or Alice Cooper.
God, that would have been awkward.
So-
Can you imagine if your mother's waters broke then?
I think it was then. I don't know. I don't know much about the. I never knew if I was overdue or before or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
You don't learn about.
Well,
that,
what
do
about a gig that you have been to that was your
Um,
favourite?
you? Let's sing.
that you actually listened
conscious of?
Oh,
Oh,
I mean, you
I'll
probably. Right.
Nice segue.
I went to see the Lucas State about 3 years ago. And that 3 years ago today, actually, that's why I mention it. And
Right.
that was really important to me wanting to do music. I found them through a YouTube ad. They
Right.
popped up. Do you know when a band pops up on a YouTube
Yeah,
ad? Oh,
yeah,
these
yeah.
are class. I searched them up. The Lucas State. Have you heard of them before? Or anything?
haven't.
It
No.
sounds
Class.
familiar, but I don't
They're
think I've
from
heard of them.
I think Cheshire,
Right.
which is like
Just outside
I don't know.
Liverpool.
it's like near Manchester and like
Yeah,
Liverpool. Yeah. And I'd sort of like been messaging them back and forth saying, "Oh, like you're really good and stuff." And like, "Oh, we're coming to Newcastle." So I'd gone to see them. I think it was at the time Old Surf Cafe
Ah, mint.
back in 2019, and we got in and it was like I think the whole gig it was only me, me dad, about 3 or 4 other people there, and then the rest were like probably like crew or like bar staff and all that,
Mhm.
and the 4 of them was in the band. So it was like probably one of the most empty gigs I've been to,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but very intimate, making it one
Yeah.
of my favourites. And I think I prefer them ones where it's like they can actually have a conversation with you. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
I've
An
always
evening
preferred
with.
them ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was class. And I remember even then they were really supportive and stuff, saying, "Oh, do you do music? Do you want us to help you out and stuff?" And they're doing class at the minute. They've been on like they've been on a French TV show called Ratata or something.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know if you've heard of it. It's pretty popular in France. And they've had like Liam Gallagher on there, Pete Doherty's been on there, Kane, do you know, did Somewhere Only Way Now.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
And they've had some really big bands on there, so I really hope they break through in the next couple of years.
Oh,
'cause
nice one.
they're
Very
class.
cool.
So yeah.
Next question. If you could be in a lineup with 2 artists in history, who would it be? So dead, alive, whatever you want.
They are the only 2 options.
You're giving us some more.
Yeah.
Dead, alive, whatever you want.
Dead, alive, in the womb.
That's really hard.
Yeah.
Let's
To
see.
recap, Lyndon said ELO and the Beatles. I
That's good.
said Tom Petty and Chris Stapleton, and you said Bruce Springsteen and George Harrison.
Yes, I did, didn't I?
Oh,
Yeah.
George Harrison.
Well
did
remembered,
ask.
Jack. Thank you very much.
I've,
You're welcome.
I've also got George Harrison in my lineup. So
Yes, you have.
I actually think he's the best Beatle, you know. I don't know if that's controversial or not, but I really
Second
like...
best.
I think
really like
progressively more and more I like George Harrison's stuff.
Yeah.
Who
I still think Paul McCartney's best, then George Harrison, then John Lennon. And then
It's one of those things. Do we think Paul McCartney's best because he's still alive and he's had a career after them? And if George Harrison had been alive, what could he have done? He would
That is
he'd
true.
be the best because obviously he's done all the Wings stuff. Paul McCartney and had a solo career. If George
To be
Harrison
fair,
had
George
done the
Harrison
same.
was still alive during the Wings era and stuff.
True.
He was doing stuff.
He died 2001.
He was in the best band on the planet.
He was.
Travelling Wilburys.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So
I love the Wilburys.
Yeah, it's got Jeff Lynne in as well.
Oh
He
yeah,
does indeed.
yeah.
And Tom Petty,
And Tom
yeah,
Petty.
yeah.
and Bob Dylan, and Roy
Roy
Orbison.
Orbison.
It's like it's the best.
It is
it's
the best band in the world.
It's the best
It is.
supergroup ever, isn't it? Really.
But no, I always, when I first started listening to Beatles, I love Paul McCartney. He was my favourite because he wrote all like my favourite Beatles songs. I started listening to all the solo stuff, and I found out I just prefer George Harrison.
Yeah.
I loved Lennon for a bit. I love them all like equally, really.
Aye.
Except for Bongo. I'm joking. I love Ringo so.
Bongo.
And then who was it? Someone at college recommended Ram, the album,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
and
it's
I
a
give
good
it a
album,
listen. It's
that.
class.
It is.
I didn't have high hopes for it because I was like, oh, it's Wings, and like a lot of the older generation, when I talk to them about like Paul McCartney solo stuff, they tend to slate it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, but I give it a listen. I was like, this is class. To be fair, I really like it. Too Many People
Mm-hmm.
tune,
It is cool.
and it's like early indie as well.
There's a lot
That's,
of Wing
uh,
stuff I prefer to Beatles
That's
stuff.
Uncle Albert
Yeah.
and something else, isn't it? The name of that song. It's like it's
Can't
sort of
remember.
a medley
No,
between two songs. I think so. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a mint album. That.
Sorry, what was the question?
I don't.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
it was
two
no, I've got
artists
to don't.
line
Yeah,
up.
two artists, right? Paul McCartney and George Harrison.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go.
Let us think. Because here's the thing as well. I listen to so many genres. I want to pick like a lineup that would be like two really good genres mixed together,
Okay.
rather than it being like
The opposite of what my reasoning was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I suggested Brian Adams for you,
Yeah.
but you wanted someone who was.
I wanted people who would sound
In a
fairly
similar
similar. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Because I wouldn't want like a hip hop band and then like deathcore. Like, that would be a
Yeah.
very. Well, I mean, there's trap metal these days, isn't there? There's
Yeah.
all sorts.
Kanye West and Mozart.
And Slipknot. Slipknot headlining it.
Do you know what you need for that? The
What?
time machine.
Cue the song again. Going back into it. Right. Sorry, I'm just
It's
going on in
alright.
circles. I'm trying to think of someone.
It is a tough question. Like only two.
I'm trying to think of bands I'd want
I've
to
got
see
quite a
live
few
as well.
people in mind. As it
Yeah.
turns out.
That's what it is. I think there's too many people though.
Yeah.
I pick Royal Blood because I still really want to see them live.
Yeah,
They
quite
look like
that
they'd be
stuff, to be fair.
class live.
Right.
Pick Royal Blood, and I'll pick. I'm trying to think like the biggest band I know, like most members. Do you know what I mean?
All right.
So it'll be like two people, and the other band's like a
Who
full-
has the most
like,
members?
Yeah,
in it?
yeah.
everyone. What's the biggest band in the world?
I mean, Slipknot has 9 people in their band.
Dunno.
Really?
Bruce
Yeah.
Springsteen has a pretty big band, the E Street Band.
Yeah, I mean,
Quite
there's-
a few
when we went to see
members.
Brian Wilson, he had about 12 people on
He
stage
did, to
doing
be
all
fair.
the Beach Boys
ELO, Jeff Lindsay, ELO.
ELO.
There's many
stuff. Yeah,
people.
yeah,
on
there's
stage.
quite a few people.
Oh, is it Dead or Alive? Did you say?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you. I'll chuck in. Have you had a Big Country?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll chuck them in because
Alright.
I always wanted to see them live when it was Stuart Adamson. They're one of my favourite bands, Big Country.
Well, they're still going. But it's not
yeah,
the
no,
original
I've,
lineup.
Yeah.
I've seen them
Right.
live since then. It's like I used to like not hate Big Country, but I thought less of them. But that's because it was the new singer. I think the new singer's great,
Yeah.
and he fills all the boxes. But I think to have sort of the charisma that Stuart Adamson had as well
Sure.
would have been something great to see live.
Yeah. I think it's different when they replace a lead singer of the band. It's like, obviously, Journey
Yeah.
have a new frontman. He's a
Yeah.
really good singer. But it's not Steve Perry.
I know
And
what you mean.
That's
Yeah.
what made that band was
Yeah.
Steve Perry's voice. You could
Right.
replace the rest of the musicians, it would be the same band. But the vocals in it is what makes a band
Yeah.
a band.
It's a shame because I've seen quite a lot of bands where, like you say, they're keeping the name going, they're keeping it going, but like you say, the members of the band, like they're
Mhm.
really
Oh.
not.
Yeah.
You know, they've been in it for maybe a couple of years or whatever. Like when I go see Foreigner, like one person in the original
Yeah.
lineup. You know what I mean?
But it's like we went to see From the Jam, Bruce
Yeah,
Fox.
yeah.
Oh right, aye.
So the bass player was the same. You could have got anyone playing bass. It's just a tribute band at the end of the day, isn't it? Because the bloke who's singing is not
Exactly.
Paul Weller. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, it doesn't sound the same.
You're very right. Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird middle ground, that isn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, like I think it happens a lot in the metal world, like or even just the rock world.
Do you reckon that's because they just not destroy their voices, but it's obviously the genre of it. It could be.
I
Quite...
don't know. I honestly, I think it's the whole sex, drugs, rock and roll thing. I think people die, and
Right.
it's a sad truth that.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, that's the
It's PSA, this whole video.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
I think that's the reality. Like you say, people like Foreigner and Journey. Although Steve Perry never, it's a different story with Steve Perry. But yeah,
Yeah.
like you say, I think in the rock world, it seems to be more common than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, your favorite album of all time.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let us think. Casa and AP.
Yeah.
The recent Jack Milcrease.
Oh.
Get out! Get out!
I'm only joking.
I was gonna say,
Favorite album. That's so.
He's only joking, Jack. He's only
That's
joking.
such.
I mean, he's not wrong, but
It's a great EP. Go listen to it now. Yeah, go
Yeah.
stream it.
Link down
Yes.
below.
Collection of the music videos is now out as well.
It is.
it is. Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't tell him to say any
Did
of this.
you
by the
pay
way.
him to do this?
No, I definitely didn't know.
Just count up my money, Joe.
Yeah.
I want 20 quid extra for that plug at the end.
The sniper's just out of shot.
Yeah, send us your invoice.
I think greatest album.
If it's easier, you can have more than one. But
I don't think there is a greatest album as well. Can I just make that clear?
Okay.
I don't think there is such thing as a greatest album.
I agree, but we did all pick one.
What did
Well,
you
what-
do?
What's
recap.
your greatest album in this moment in time?
we'll do a recap.
We'll do a
We'll
recap
recap.
first,
We'll do a
yes.
recap.
Mine's Out the Blue. Yellow.
All right, class.
Mine was Reckless by Bryan Adams.
Mine was Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen.
There's some good albums, like. Mine is going to be the Wiggles album from About Town.
I saw them
I
live.
knew you were going to
You
say
saw
that.
the Wiggles live?
at City Hall.
He's never been more impressed.
Was there a mosh pit?
No, Josh, I can't remember
Wiggles.
how old I was. Pretty young. I can't remember how old I was. But
The
I just
Wiggles
remember
mosh
going-
pit.
Yeah, there were just lots of 4 and 5-year-olds running around.
Seriously though, what's your favorite?
I'd probably say at this moment in time, Ian Jury and the Blockheads, but New Boots and Panties. I'd say that one. I don't. Do you know Ian Jury and the Blockheads?
No.
Did Hit Me With the Rhythm Stick?
Okay,
You'll know. You'll
Hit
know
me
that
slowly,
song.
hit you quick.
Yes,
I'm unaware.
that was a nice. Do you not know that
I
song?
don't think so.
Oh.
no.
Hit me with your rhythm stick.
No,
You gotta
no.
know it.
No?
Oh,
I know it.
we're gonna play the whole album to you
Oh,
afterwards.
right.
That's what we're gonna
I'm
do.
going to blast it outside your house when you go to sleep. with me.
Lovely,
Yes.
lovely.
But yeah, I've recently got back into it because it's a lot of like Cockney rhyme and slang and all that in the whole album progressively because obviously he's Cockney, but all the there's little puns in it, inside jokes and all that. I think it's really smart and there's a lot of like early hip hop in there, although it's like I don't even know what genre you class it as because it's sort of like ska with like the wackiness of it.
All right.
And Madness were really influenced by Ian Jury and the Blockheads. They've got a saxophone player which instantly boosts
Yeah.
It does, to be fair.
Any
everything.
band ever.
Yes. But yeah, it's just a great album. And I remember always when I first finished school, sort of going out on walks and I'd just put it in my headphones and listen to the whole album. And I'd do that like every single day, listen to the same album.
Oh, nice.
So
Nice.
probably that one.
Good answer. Good answer.
yes.
Better than the Wiggles.
I do love the Wiggles, like.
So
Some
do I.
belt tunes there.
Aye.
Hot
Oh, did
potato.
you say that
Open
Joe?
the pit.
Joe spoke about Triple J before, the Australian radio station where they get artists on.
Aye.
They've been on that, you know.
But the Wiggles.
Wiggles.
They did a cover of Tame Impala.
Oh, I've seen that.
What song?
Wiggles?
What
Yeah.
Tame Impala song? The less I know, the better.
The Wiggles have
Wiggles
done Less I
have
Know
gone
the
on
Better.
and done-
that, isn't it?
Because it's the other
The
way
cover
around.
of-
Tim Impala's gone on stage with them and done Elephant, I think it was.
Oh, Elephant, that's it.
Is that
yeah.
the one they
That's
do?
the one.
And they've had like Kid Leroy on with the Wiggles, but he's like jumping around like starting to watch pit. I'm like, please don't.
I'll have to show you it once we're finished.
It's
It's cool.
Aye.
The Wiggles, the and Tim Impala.
That's probably my favourite YouTube channel, I'd say. Like
Triple J. Oh, it's
like a
I'll
version
find
and
loads of
all
main
that.
artists on
Aye.
that. Like
Well, thank you very much for listening to the Lime Tree Sessions podcast with me, Jack Milcrease.
Dennis Huskirk.
Scott Charlton.
And Daniel Maple. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to hear more of Daniel after this, playing some tunes. But yeah, up until next time, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
I can appreciate the noise. Those little scoundrels known as boys, taking approval from my parts. credit for everything I've got. You get your wages on your lowest day. You get your head down, but you have no brain. You get your final day in prison, and that's not bad luck, no. It's just a living, yeah, yeah. And I don't believe all that I see. I can't remember being free. Time and time again I try to see it through. Sometimes I just don't know what to do. You get your wages on your lowest day. You get your head down, but you have no brain. You get your final day in prison, and that's not bad luck, no. It's just a living. You see the past and I see the future. Soon you'll find out which is new to you. I hope you get your final day in prison, but that's not bad luck though. It's a living.